Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy, Hikins, and Trevor.
What's that word I'm looking for? Whether the relationship is going to end well or not,
Yeah.
I mean, when we do, in terms of the length of the relationship, we don't know, do we? Because they could have 4 kids and still split up. We don't know.
Yeah.
But at least for the short foreseeable time. And then it dawned on me that subconsciously, Trevor, we all call time on on famous people's relationship. And this is a confession. It's a confession. I don't know if anybody else does it, but I'm saying it for myself. We all call time on people's relations. And I wonder why. Is it because they famous, it's bound to fail, or it's just a trend that most relationships are doomed for the iceberg, that sort of thing. What do you make of that, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all probably do that, but not so much call time. But I think there are some relationships you read about famous people, and you just think that ain't going to last, and it's even difficult to say why we might think that. And very often we are proved correct. I think a number of reasons. First of all, if you've got 2 famous people, maybe one is likely to be a bit more famous, if you like, than the other.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't help, because you've got anybody who's famous must have a pretty large ego.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a negative thing, but they are used to people holding the door open for them, metaphorically and literally. No one really says no to them, so you inevitably develop this sense of I'm special, I'm a great artist, whatever. So I think when you've got 2 competing egos, particularly if they maybe are similarly famous, then that you can see why sometimes that goes wrong, because the other person isn't going to kowtow to you and say, oh, anything you want, I'll do it. So it must be difficult for any famous people. Another side of it is if a famous person is hitched with someone who isn't famous, or is, marginally famous. I mean, like the sportsman of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But if they're not famous at all, if they just have an ordinary life, as we say, it's difficult to see that working either, because, sometimes you read of famous men and women when they write their book, or often after a breakup, after a divorce, they say, I was sick and tired of being always known as the wife of, the partner of, as anybody would. And I mean, it must work the other way around, where if a guy is married to a well-known woman, and she's the one adulated, if that's a word, then he's going to come to a point and think, actually, I'm just a bit part in this whole setup. So I think relationships where there's 1 or 2 famous people involved start off against the odds, really. They'll do pretty well to last the course. I mean, we can look at a recent example of Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langford. I mean, I guess they were both similarly famous, or at least he was more famous when they got together. Excuse me, but I think she's on that ITV program called Loose Women, and I think she's made quite a good career for herself. So that's come a cropper after.
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deep Stuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deep Stuff Radio Facebook page.